here we are. I'm back. I'm awake for Tier 1 season number 4. And it's round number 2 today for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Trying my absolute hardest to not come across as a squeaker. You know, talking in a very deep voice. Or at least trying my best to. Don't want to be too high pitched. I'll also slow down my speaking as well, just in case that's a little bit too fast. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Maybe. No, I'm joking. I am joking. We've got a couple of people coming in. I think we're just waiting for 1 or 2 more, then we can get ourselves underway and racing. I say racing. It'll be a short qualifying first, followed by 35 laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Of course, being a 50% distance race. The real one was 70 laps, so this one's going to be 35. That's how maths works. 50% is half the race, so, you know, makes sense. That explanation was more so meant for Rick, as opposed to anyone else, because I know he struggles, bless him, and got to be inclusive of him, of course. I think we are getting ourselves underway pretty much now. It's a miracle, Corey, mate. It's a miracle if you finish this race, mate. That's what I'm gonna say. Lawson confident he's going for the win. Fair enough. So I will say a massive hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tier 1 time once more, and after a thrilling season opener at Spa that I was 100% awake for, we jump over to Budapest for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's MX, the Season 2 champion, looking to mount another title campaign that leads us into round 2. With Speed, Alcoholic and Rick in hot pursuit. Though being only 1 round deep, it's hard to tell who stacked up where in this tense season. Hungary then, it's Monaco without the walls. It's tight, twisty and hard to overtake, with a huge reliance on those front and rear wings. Expect qualifying to take a massive importance tonight. With track position ever so important, strategy will be aimed to be a one-stop medium to hard. However, some people may slip through on those softs, unless of course the weather takes control, as it has done for the last 2 races in real life Formula 1. Massive thank you as always to our sponsor, High Dive Apparel, for their continued support into Season 4. I'm of course Zach the Squeaker Sweeney, bringing you through tonight's action. Though before we get going, a mention that was certainly due last week is everyone at APPF1 wishes Davler a speedy recovery after his operation. And now, without further ado, round 2, let's get it going. And we're in for our short qualifying session. 18 minutes on the clock then. And Rick realised my little subtle nod to his lack of understanding, though I only joke sometimes, maybe. 17 drivers on the grid tonight, pretty good turnout it must be said, only missing a few, and hopefully we can have at least 16 of them finish. It would be lovely to have all 17 finish, though with the difficulty that Hungary poses, could certainly be a challenge to get more than a few, but we are good here at APPF1. They know how to get themselves around a circuit. One of them, though, is Corey, who almost spun already, and he's only been on air for 3 seconds of this season. He's on his outlap first, and of course the Aston Martins in real life Formula 1 in 2021 didn't exactly have the best day at Hungary. Sebastian Vettel was chasing after Esteban Ocon for a good 50 laps, only to be disqualified at the end of the race for not having enough fuel to provide a sample to the FIA. Hopefully that's not going to happen to Corey, and he can have a lovely, lovely race today. But never say never. It is Corey after all. I'm going to be ripping into everyone now. That's what you'll get for taking a mick out of me last week. So no one's safe, let's say that much. Corey, he's got 1 race win to his name. That was the sprint season. And certainly not the quickest way around the circuit, but he's just given the Hungaroring track maintenance staff a little bit of a helping hand in keeping that grass nice and short. He's going to take us round a lap of the Hungaroring though. He's going to be the first man to do so. He's on the soft compound tyre, so confident that he can go for that one stop despite being on the quicker degrading tyre through the final corner. And DRS open as he heads down this pit straight. Not particularly long, but certainly a good opportunity to overtake down in towards turn 1. Looking for the 100 board then just before the start of the curve. Down to second gear. Nice late-ish apex. You've got the second of 2 DRS straights here. Not the best exit as he goes towards turn number 2 then. Pretty off-cambered corner, so you want to keep it as tight as possible, and that's certainly not the best line, but he's brought it back for a late-ish apex, but still not particularly close to the one you'd want. Through turn 3, completely flat out in these Formula 1 cars, and then towards turn 4, quick blind apex, uphill left-handed. You just have to sort of flick the car through and trust it's going to stick. Turn 5 or caution corner, you've got to be miles away from that curve on the inside, or you will spin. Mount Everest, you just got to turn it in. Stay on the first bit of the curb, not the second bit. And then through the S sections, we've got turn 7, 8, and then a short little dash towards turn 9, which is completely flat out. Then through 10, a quick flick to the right. You can use all the track on the exit. You can see Corey using a little bit too much there as he invalidates his lap time for round number 1. We'll go on board with Vardy then. He's not too far behind. Purple to the middle sector and in towards turn 11. Nicely done, keeping it tidy in third gear, and then towards turn 12, though he's backing off a little bit. Not quite sure as to why he's doing that. He's not invalidated his lap time by any means, but backing off maybe to go for a quick dash to the line. It's not going to be the quickest time in the world. We've got RIP, a man I think that's joining us today as Vardy goes quickest, so 1:19.4. RIP though, certainly going to smash that out of the park. Across the line, it's an 18.2 for the Alfa Romeo. Only 2 drivers who have set a lap time. Neither of them are particularly competitive, and they certainly will be improved upon as the session goes on. And you can see there Lawson already going quicker with AP around about 3/100ths of a second behind that in the Mercedes for this season. Pretty damn nice to see him in a top car. He's been in the Haas, the Alfa Romeo, the Aston Martin, and I think the Ferrari as well, but I'm not entirely sure. Hard to keep track. Paulson and Dave, they used to love to move around teams, and they'd be winning Constructors' Championships quite often as well. Neil goes into P4 then on the medium tyre, along with Gravy Slash in P6. 20.8 and an 18.7 respectively for those two. So only 7 drivers yet to settle time, and Corey once again has invalidated his run. Who was that went into P4? It was Jackalaka into 4th and Slippy Jimmy into 3rd. 16.5 and 16.7 for those two. Made me a promise about cursing people. Stick to that, please. Rick, let's hope he can get himself out on track pretty quickly so we can give him a nice little spectate. Yeah, good to have you back, Grandad Bonkers. Certainly have missed you during the off-season, and of course that week I missed last week. Again, I do apologise profusely for that one. Ted keeping it well within the track limits then as he heads towards turn 11. Not the quickest middle sector, of course, but the Season 2 Sprint Champion is definitely going to be one to look out for in this race. He's certainly pretty damn good around Hungary, but it is a tough circuit. You've got to be on your toes. You've got to be consistent. And while, yes, track position is going to be important as Ted goes into P5 and 18.048 for the Red Bull in the same car he took his championship with. Funnily enough, he was teammates with Vardy for that season, and his teammates with him once more this time. Vardy just fallen short of his teammate on that one. Hopefully it won't be a similar story this time around, for Vardy's sake, not for Ted's sake. But yeah, around Hungary you've got to be consistent, but you've also got to be pretty quick. As one of those things where you can't put all your eggs in one basket. You've got to be sort of bang in the middle. At some circuits, Monaco, you definitely want all your eggs in the consistency basket, but around here you've got to be quick and consistent, which, you know, it would be a perfect recipe around all tracks, but if you had to split it, it would be bang in the middle for this circuit, I'm sure. It's tricky. Vardy setting up a quick lap. I think he's going for a longer run on this thing, just getting himself acclimatised to the circuit. He certainly won't be using these soft tyres anytime soon in the race. Hopefully not then. If he qualifies inside the top 10 on these tyres, he's got to start the race on these tyres, but hopefully for him he won't have to. He's just using these to sort of warm himself up a little bit, as many drivers do, especially for the first half of the session. Here is the Ferrari third place man in last season's championship. It's Rick. Sort of bottled the last round, but again just wasn't quite on the pace. He had a stellar season. I didn't think led a single lap. I'm not sure. So yeah, certainly one of the most consistent. You can see he's giving us a nice little wiggle warming up the tyres. Or we might just see that he's on stream. One of the two, giving us a little wave. Through the penultimate corner, he's going to set it up. You really want a good exit here, because you've got those front and rear wings pretty much as high as you can go. So you do definitely want a good exit, because you've got all that air pushing you back, that drag. But the DRS opening the rear wing flap, certainly going to help him. Under brakes, smashing down the gears. Third gear, it's not something we saw Corey do earlier on through the little kink towards turn 2. Braking at the 50 just before you. Again, want to get it nice and tight, just washing out that understeer. You can see really does not want to go with him. That's where the track tilts away from where you actually want to be turning. As sort of if you take Daytona and flip it, if you were driving around Daytona and trying to turn right, is essentially what it is. It's just going away from you as opposed to with you. Reverse banking, but he goes powerful to the first sector, so Rick definitely has got some good pace. Turning a little bit too late for turn 6 and 7, then that's certainly not going to help him in terms of momentum. It's all about momentum through here and rhythm from pretty much turn 5 all the way through to the end of the lap. You've just got to hook every corner up. You mess one up, you're going to mess the rest up. Through turn 10, pretty decent still, not quite purple to middle sector, a 55.551, lots of 5s in there. And then in towards the penultimate corner. Down the gears, just hug it so tight, bring it out to the exit to the right hand side, then quickly flick it back to the left to open up the final corner, give yourself that nice dart to the line. DRS open, not going to matter too much, but it certainly does help on the run to the line. Across the line, it's a P7, 17.694 for Rick. He can certainly go quicker, trailing his teammate by around about a second, just shy of a second in fact. Paus though, still doing pretty well, really well in fact, up there in P2 on the front row of the grid. That's going to give him a great open bit of track in towards turn 1 if he can keep it there. Who else have we got? This is Eat My Dust in the McLaren across the line to set another lap time. Goes a little bit quicker, 17.1, not enough to get him inside the top 5 on this occasion. 9 minutes left to qualify now, and we're pretty much halfway through, and this final half is where we're really going to see lap times plummet. Corey manages to keep it clean through turn 10 and just about manages to set a purple sector through the middle one. Bit of a lock up into the penultimate corner. That different postcode away from an apex. Really doesn't know what one is, and through the final corner brings it back, just about clips the late one. You could semi call that an apex, I suppose, and across the line in his pole position for Corey, or provisionally so. His first lap a 16.168. As we've lost Rick from the session. So it's the two RRL boys, 1 and 2. Certainly both have got some great pace, but Paus not far behind. How did we lose Rick? That's what I want to know. Yeah, Lawson 4 now. He's certainly got the fire to come back at Corey. Here's Paus then. He's starting his second lap in the Mercedes. The W12, a stellar car. Really grips the circuit. Of course, equal performance for here, but it's certainly a beautiful car. Mercedes fan or not, you've got to appreciate it. Rick, mate, I'm sure that wasn't your plan. Through turn 2 for AP, as he keeps it nice and tight for turn 3. Does not want to bring it all the way out to the right hand side and really, close off turn 3 for him. Power puts the first sector, 2 turns up. That's enough to put him back on the front row for now. He's got to keep the rest of the lap tidy, using the momentum, just keeping that minimum speed up through turn 5 more than anything. Nice early braking again, just to carry that speed through 6 and 7. Into 8th, quick flick to the left, quick flick to the right, lovely done from AP. We'll go into the helicopter cam just to see the speed. Bit of a twitch, not quite as confident in his light as he would have liked, and at the moment it's purple to the first 2 sectors for AP. This is looking like a stellar lap. Can he get himself onto provisional pole with 7 minutes left to go? Remember, they've all got 1 more lap after this. Through the penultimate corner, still tidy. Still looks like he's gaining time, and through the final corner, hugging it nice and tight to the inside just to shorten that distance. DRS open on the run to the line. Is it provisional pole position for Paus? Yes, it is. The first man into the 15s, and it's a 1:15.993 for the Mercedes. Just over 2 tenths up on Corey, who sits P2, and that was an absolutely stellar lap from AP. He really probably can't get much quicker than that. I'll be surprised if we get much quicker than that. But a sub 16 for Paus, certainly going to help him solidify at least a top 3. Speed alcoholic into P4. The man that, of course, won the season finale last time at Brazil, and He won the last time we went to Brazil before that as well. He certainly has a taste for Interlagos. How can he do around the Hungarian though? That is a different story. At the moment, not too bad. And the top 5 covered by 5 tenths across the middle sector. He goes purple by a long way. 7 tenths up on his previous best. This is looking like a damn good time. At the moment, it's predicted to be a 15.7. Can he deliver on that promise? In the papaya orange McLaren again through the final corner, taking a very different line to Paus, but across the line. Is it provisional pole? Yes, it is. A 15.556, 4 tenths quicker than AP, who's now P2. Ted retires from the session into turn 5. An easy mistake to make, but yeah, speed. I doubted him. I really did. I said we weren't going to get much quicker. We certainly did get a lot quicker. 4 tenths of a second. That is incredible from speed. To have set that lap time. Absolute madness. Can AP respond to that? Can Corey respond to that? Can Lawson respond to that? He's out on that lap at the moment in the Haas. We've still got 3 drivers. Kin, the reigning champion, MX the championship leader, and one-time Tier 1 champion, and Wumax yet to set a lap time. Those 3 at the back, 15, 16 and 17. All eyes, I think, are at the front, because this could either be a runaway for speed, or it could be an incredibly close fight between himself, Paus, Corey and LB, because that is pretty close. And of course, don't forget Jackalacca and Slippy Jimmy are only, a 1/10.5 behind each. So top 6 probably could, all of them could at least get themselves on the front row. Don't know about Paul. Speed looks mighty quick, but here's Lawson in the Haas. His first lap was good enough for Paul for quite a while. Corey tipped it, then Paus pipped it, then Speed pipped it. What's his response to that? Through turn 1, 3rd gear, nice late apex, keeping that speed through to maximise and keep the car in a straight line just to get that power down on the run towards turn number 2. And for Lawson, had quite a bit of success in Tier 2. He brings himself up into Tier 1, of course, restricted assists compared to Tier 2. But certainly proved to have the pace. Purple to the first sector, not by much, only 13 thousandths of a second. Not leaving anything on the table through turn 5. You could see he really hugged that inside. Through 6 and 7, not really keeping the revs up as much as they'd like, and you can see making a bit of a mistake and just backing off that lap as to save the tyres. Does not want to put any more strain than he needs to. This is Slippy Jimmy. He, at the moment, I think is 5th in the championship after taking P5 last time out at Spa. And the Alpine, after pretty, I think he was with us for the tail end of last season as sort of a midfield back marker. He's now certainly up there inside the top 6. Best the rest at the very least, but one to look out for in the Alpine. And hey, One Wing, I haven't ignored you. Just there's quite a bit going on at the moment. 12 people watching. Pleasure to have you all in, of course. And it would be much appreciated if you could just like the stream, and everything does go a long way. Yeah, pretty much most people in the pit lane. We've got Vardy on a lap. Is he on a lap? No, he's not on a lap. On a lap. And in fact, it was quite decent through the middle sector. Just must have had a slight validation. This is RIP through the middle sector. Sort of struggling to get the car turned in there. You saw he went into 3rd gear. MX goes P5 on the mediums. They are 2 laps old medium, so not going to be the best condition for the start of the race, but certainly still pretty decent. And yeah, 16.454 for MX, so certainly starting this title campaign off well, you can say that much. 2 minutes 40 left to go in this qualifying session then, and we've not got long left. Last laps install very soon. We've got AP and Koryu out there looking to respond to speed. And we've got seven different teams inside the top 7. Yeah, of course it's not realistic performance, but just to show the difference between some people and their teammates. Go MX. Gotta support each other, of course. He's looking to make himself the first double Tier 1 champion. Because the sprint is the only time, fellow Canadian and your sprint teammate. Yeah, you gotta stick together, Looks like Paus is going to be the first of the top 4 to set his final lap then. And he goes through the final corner. 4 tenths he's got to make up around a relatively short circuit. 1:15. That's around about just slightly slightly slower than Monaco pace, and yeah, it's quite a short circuit. through turn 1, hugging that inside curb pretty nicely. Gets on the power relatively well. Bumblebee, MX. MX certainly got a lot of fans in the chat. Hugging it lovely through turn 2. That's how you do it. As to counter the off camber. Power's doing a great job then as he heads up the hill. Quick flick to the left for the blind apex turn 4. He's a little bit up and purple, 84 thousandths of a second, keeping it within the track crucially as well. He's going to need a little bit more than that, around about about 3 and a bit tenths in order to make up that gap to pole. And remember, speed also has the chance to improve. A little bit more aggressive through 6 and 7. Might have lost that. There's tier 2 champ, but there's not a double tier 2 or tier 1 champion, is what I was alluding to. He's purple to middle sector as well. 1/10 up on his time. He's going to need a stellar final sector if he wants to put it on provisional pole though for Paus. He's going to get one more lap if he wants it, but I don't think he's going to want to exhaust the tyres too much. Wumax goes P4, 16.252. Great lap. Where's he going to put him at the end of it? And Paus taking a very different line to the one he did before. DRS Open on the run to the line then. Where's he going to put him? It's an improvement, but it's not enough. A 15.837. And all you can do is hope that Corey and Wumax and LB and MX don't go faster. MX is actually not going to set a time. He's happy with his medium lap. Corey looked to be very quick through that middle sector though. Where's he going to put him? Is it a front row? Is it pole for the Aston Martin? Not quite good enough. Only manages to pit Powell by 3/100ths of a second. Can LB do anything? No, he can't. Goes a little bit wide off the exit of 6 and 7. And that's going to be his qualifying over. So it looks like Speed is going to be the one to set the pole position lap time with a 15.5, unless anyone else can have anything else to say about that. Wumax is backed off. Kiernan goes P4 with a 16.1, so second and fourth for the Aston Martins, as Jack Lacko has disqualified himself for being parked in a dangerous location. I think he's beached it on the curve. He's beached it on the curb and can't get moving. That is very strange. Obviously had a spin, I think, off the penultimate corner, is what I'm guessing, and then just found himself beached on the curb and couldn't move. That is a strange one. Never seen that one. Not at that corner anyway. Can Speed extend his gap? No, he can't. He's invalidated his lap time. Doesn't matter anyway. Puts it into the wall for a bit of fun. That's the strange thing. Hits the barrier with his front, but breaks his rear. Lovely physics. You got to love it, haven't you? So yeah, very close qualifying. I think it's going to be an equally good race on that short dash towards turn 1. But yeah. AP, a stellar result. He's certainly going to be loving being right back at the sharp end of the grid. $16 people watching. Lovely. Some of the highest we've got. I think the highest we've ever gotten is like 18-20. So get your mum, get your sister, your brother, anyone to come and watch, even if they're new to Formula 1. We've got some people who couldn't care about the sport, but still come along and watch. So certainly go and get some people to come and watch along. It's a pleasure to have you, and I'll do my best to introduce them to the sport if they are new. If they aren't, well, welcome to the world of esports. If you have, no, it's certainly a very good platform. We'll talk about that in the second though, because it's the McLaren of Speed Alcoholic on pole position, a 1:15.556. As he tops the timing sheets with Corey joining him on the front row. 2.5 tenths back, but from there it was very close. Powell's P3, just 3/100ths of a second back. Kiernan P4, the reigning champion, starting on the second row on the medium tyre with the better strategy, looking to go for the one stop. He will be one to watch today. Wumax, the Bulgarian, rounds out the top 5 with LB in P6. Wanted to go for pole, found himself 8 tenths off. MX, the championship leader on the mediums as well. P7, Slippy Jimmy P8, Neil P9 with Imai Dust rounding off the top 10. RIP in P11. He'll be the first of those with the free tyre choice. Vardy in P12, Aces P13, Rick in P14, Ted 15th with Gravy Splash in 16th, and Jackalacco at the back of the grid because he beached himself on a curb and got himself disqualified from qualifying. Certainly not the best way to go about this qualifying session for the Scotsman, though. He's definitely going to be on a charge through the field. I'm sure both Ferraris are going to be on a charge through the field today. Yeah, and you are certainly right, One Wing, in that the two, well, there's 3 inside the top 10 on the mediums. All of them are probably going to be strong-ish for a decent finishing position, at least in the midfield. But yeah, back to my point about sim racing and how good of a platform it certainly is. You look to F1 Esports, I think it was 4 years ago, Chembolic Bassi was a 2017 Pro Series driver, and now he finds himself signing for, I believe it's Charus, for the Formula 2 season in 2022. So, you know, go tell your mum that it's definitely not a waste of time. You might find yourself in Formula 2 one day, if you're good enough. And for Rick, probably would give up on that dream. No, I'm joking. We'll get a formation lap underway in 30 seconds then. It's just the time to finalise those minor tweaks to the setup. Of course, under part-friendly conditions, they can't change much, but they can change a little bit. And then, of course, with the fuel and tyre wear, just communicating with their teammates when they're going to come into the pit lane. They don't want to be double stacking. That's certainly not going to be the best way to go about things. 7 seconds then until we find ourselves on the grid, ready for the formation lap, where they'll have to get those tyres warmed up for a good start, because if you lose any positions on turn 1, lap 1, it's going to be hard to gain them back. Speed's going to lead us round. I'm going to get all my timing and telemetry up. And we're underway. Corey gets a great start for the formation lap. Too bad he's got to give that place back up to speed. But a good practice start. I think that's what he was doing. Trying to spin those rear wheels and get some temperature into them. Because you're not going particularly fast for the formation lap. So it's sort of hard to get some temperature in. Still possible. But yeah, 17 drivers. Who's going to come out on top? Put your bets in the comments of the stream. Just a reminder what tyres people are on here. Everyone outside the top 10 are on the mediums. So they're going for that one stop, medium to hard. Pretty more comfortable than the soft to hard, which we did see from our friends over at AWS. Is possible. They're probably not ideal in that sense. We'll keep an eye on the position changes for lap 1 though. But yeah, definitely put your bets in. I reckon Kiernan's got a decent shot at this. He's fast on those mediums, and he's going to be on a better strategy than those around him. If he can keep with them off the start and get those tyres into a nice working window, he's definitely got a good shout. But you know, it's anything can happen. Speed's got some speed. Cora and Powers as well, if they can get themselves in the mix. It could be anyone's game, I reckon. Just have to see how the race pans out. You certainly cannot predict motorsport. "35 laps of green flag racing hopefully is ahead of us. We won't be interrupted by a safety car or a VSC, though if it spices things up, then why not? I'm all for it. It's just when it's lap after lap after lap of safety car, that's when it gets a little bit boring and you're struggling to find things to talk about. But it's Hungary, it's APPF1, where you always deliver in terms of action, and with what seems to be another tight championship battle, as it always has been for Tier 1 and the Sprint and Tier 2 and Elite. All 4 divisions give us some good action. Waiting for Jackalaka at the back of the grid to line up then. And that's going to give us the time for LB to get promoted then. Definitely is Kyle. Waiting for those 5 red lights to illuminate your screen. The cars will rev up. The adrenaline will get pumping. And we'll be ready to get underway for the Hungarian Grand Prix round number 2 of this season. It's Speed Aquatic on pole. Kuro alongside. Paus and Keenan make up the second row. 5 red lights. And we're underway. Seems to be a decent start from Corey from second on the grid, but Speed has that second engagement, really gets a good launch. And now as we go in towards turn 1, you can see Corey and Paus going side by side. Paus stuck on the outside. The Alfa Romeo of MX going to try and dart one to the inside. Corey and Paus side by side for P2. Corey just about manages to claim the corner and stay ahead for now. MX, a great start, up 3 already, really getting punchy in ahead of Kiernan, crucially, who darts one back to the inside through turn 2. The off-cambered corner is going to allow Kiernan to close the gap, but through turn 3, MX takes the position for now. Further down we see Jackalako getting himself up a couple of places. Vardy up 3 as well as RIP up 1 inside the top 10. But for now it's Speed, Koru, AP, MX and Kiernan, your top 5, with Slippy Jimmy up a couple of places also. And if you take a look further down the grid, we can see, I think there's been a spinner. It's Gravy Splash going round, and he's trailing the grid, and now side by side with Ted is Eat My Dust into the turn 6 and 7 chicane. With Speed already a pretty dominant lead. It seems 7/10 of a second. Paus seems to be trailing a little bit further back, 1.2. Not getting off to the greatest of starts in the world. But Rick, both Ferraris getting a decent start. They're up 4 places combined total. Both of them on the mediums, both of them on that alternate strategy. So those outside the top 10 are just trying to maximise what they can. And oh no, Kiernan has gone round through the final corner. Something's happened, whether that was a mistake of his own or contact. He's certainly gone round, and the reigning champion finds himself, well, second to last on the first lap, on the opening lap. And he's got to be fighting his way through, so keep an eye out for him, as he's already eyeing up Eat My Dust towards turn 1. How late can he be under brace? He certainly had a look, just trying to fill the mirrors of the McLaren. RIP going side by side. Oh, getting himself through. No, this is Ace, is looking to claim the position, and around the outside of turn 2. Brilliant move from the Englishman. Gets the inside of turn 3. Jobs are good, and he's up inside the top 10. Ace certainly does know how to put a race on. You can count on that. Lap 2. And for Kiernan, Rick's going to be very happy that Kiernan is outside the top 10 and second to last. But he's got a long race. It's a marathon, not a sprint. He's got his alternate strategy, he's got his pace, and he's got his, well, I want to say consistency, but after the spin you can't really count on that much more. But for the rest of the race, if he can be consistent and just get his head down, it'll pay off later on. If there's a safety car, he'll be right back on it. Just look at how close the field is. We're going to be locked in the DRS train, I'm pretty sure. No, Kiernan's gone round again. He's gone round through turn 10. Probably took a little bit too much curb on the inside and sent himself spinning. He's now plumb last. And, well, for Kiernan, I did say anything can happen. He's got the pace, but has he got the consistency? And Hungary, I think, has claimed a victim. DRS enabled as we come onto lap 3. That's the drag reduction system. Not going to be benefiting Vardy much in towards turn 1, but it might benefit him into turn 2 as Wumax goes in a little bit too deep. So Vardy says thank you very much, snicks the car on the inside. He's going to be the outside for turn 2, but I think Wumax is just going to tuck in. Wumax is a very clever racer in that he will just concede a position. He knows Vardy's quicker, he knows he's on the better strategy, so Wumax is like, there's no point fighting you. I'm going to stick with you, I'm going to stick in your DRS, and hopefully we can go and catch the top 6. Good thinking as RAP may his front wing rest in peace, or rest in pieces it seems. Is scattered all over the circuit, but he spins himself round, can't quite get going, and finds himself plumb last. So Speed still leading from Corey, 1.1 behind, and AP 1.3 with MX in sort of a hot pursuit, but on those mediums you can't really blame him for falling off. Sleepy Jimmy 8 cents back and in the DRS range of MX. Can he go for the move though? That is the question. Can he get close enough? Will the dirty air allow him to get close enough? He just needs to protect his DRS. MX doing a pretty good job of that so far. Emo Dust gets past 10, a little bit further back. If you look on the timing screen, I'm just trying to spot where the battles are and where they're happening and where they're not, and how important they will be for this race. Kiernan 1 second off a Gravy Splash at the moment. That probably shouldn't be too difficult of a move for him to make. But three-way fight for P4 at the moment. 2 softs chasing down the medium. And AP has managed to close the gap to Koru, who I think has made a bit of a mistake, or AP has just sort of turned something up in his car. He finds himself back in DRS range of the Aston Martin, trying to fight for P2, but Speed, once he's in his zone, once he's in his element, once he's got some clear track in front of him, he's he's one of the most undefeatable people in this championship for sure. He just does his thing, especially around a circuit that requires you to be careful with your tyres and nurse them, especially in his situation, being on those softs. He can be quick and he can care for those tyres. Very Checo Perez-esque driver, I would say. And his stint at McLaren certainly gone a little bit better than Checo Perez's did. Back in 2013, I believe it was, when Lewis left. Through the penultimate corner. And he's certainly closing the gap, is Pal. So keep an eye on this one for a while, because it seems the rest of them have sort of fizzled out for the time being. But he's in the DRS range and he is closing. Is it by enough? He's using his DRS. We've got yellow flags through sector 3. I think that's Eat My Dust going for a spin as Kiernan gets himself into P14. And just look at how much Pals has closed the gap to Koru, who extends it a little bit more on the acceleration as Neil gets past Wumax. I think that was into turn 1. A nice easy move for the Mercedes. So both Mercedes moving up, or at the very least trying to. Yeah, 2 seconds advantage over Koruda's speed. This isn't over. I think this could be MX's race. Surprised there's been no safety car yet. So am I, Alex. So am I. AP, yeah, I think he's struggling. You can close up the gap, but you sort of can't make any more advances after sort of 6, 7 turns. Once you get there around a track like Hungary, it's hard to then make that next step forward in closing your rival down. But he's doing a relatively good job of it. He just needs to make sure he's closed out that final corner. That's the crucial one. And that seems to be where Corey is pretty quick. It's off the corner exits, he just darts and goes. And that's going to be his saving grace and keeping P2 for the time being. I think it might be won or lost in the pit lane for Pals. Again, you can see Corey just incredible off that final corner. Gives him the defence he needs down this straight. He knows he's runnable. He knows he hasn't got the DRS in front. Look at the closing under brakes from Pals. Does manage to get a decent exit, but it's not enough. Close to good 3/10 under brakes on Corey. And that puts him in a good position, but you can't overtake mid-corner. That's the thing. It's the straight line speed that's going to save Corey, I think, here. Once Pals does get in front, it might be a different story. Rick inside the top 10 then, giving us a bit of action. Unfortunately, haven't been able to catch any of his overtakes so far. Because all eyes are being between these two. We don't want to miss a fight for P2 if there is going to be one, because Corey and Pals, neither of them will give an inch. And the more they fight, MX on those mediums could be brought right back into the mix as soon as these softs start to die. They're going to have to go a long way on these softs if they're already starting to die. Or just go for a two-stop and hope for a safety car. That's another realistic possibility. Wumax going back once more. I think the softs. I think Wumax is the dummy, as Kinnan has retired from the session on track. Was it a crash or was it a manual retirement? I think it was just a manual retirement. It shouldn't be a full course yellow. I hope it's not going to be a full course yellow, because then I think anyone who's not on the mediums is going to come in. Corey already comes in to the pit lane, so Paus gets P2 for free. MX has managed to close the gap to under a second. Yeah, one thing that's very true. He is really just putting that foot to the floor and going for it. LB has managed to siege the LP now. He's managed to put him into energy conservation mode, just trying to... yeah, you can just see Slippy Jimmy has got nothing in the battery, 7%, and once you get below 10%, your battery output is going to be minimised as well. So he's not going to be... not only has he not got much ERS to use, it's also not very good ERS to be using, whereas LB has got the best half a battery. Vardy also there, he's got nearly a full battery. Him and Ghost are just sensational when it comes to their ERS management. They can stay quick and conserve their ERS for when they really need it as well. Unlike Sleepy Jimmy, who has wasted all of his and trying to stay in front for P4. So LB and Vardy are going to say thank you very much, I'm sure, very soon. But LB now has to look forward as well as back. Make sure he can put that pressure on Slippy Jimmy. His saving grace is the fact he's got the DRS on Slippy Jimmy to sort of prevent Vardy from coming through. And he knows Vardy's the one to take his time. He, you know, doesn't go for rash movements. Eat My Dust has gone for a spin. That is a crash. He's stopped on the circuit as there is a safety car. You can see Slippy Jimmy thought about it. Does come back in. LB had to think about it. Speed Alcoholic straight in, Pulse straight in. MX stays out to take the lead. That's our first safety car of the race, and LB has been left out to dry. They're going to rejoin. They're going to be behind the safe. LB is going to lose out a big time here, and I think that's because of Slippy Jimmy's indecisiveness. Strapping on the hard tyres, Hardy onto the hards from the mediums as well. So he was one of those alternate strategy runners. They didn't come in. MX is trusting his gut and rigs up into P3 because everyone's come in. Fair enough for him. Where it's going to be after the fact is a different story. But Pavs has managed to jump Corey in the pit lane because of this. He had a cheaper pit stop and managed to get in front of Corey. He's on the mediums as well. He's going to have to make another stop in this race. 2 retirements then of Eat My Dust and Kin and Teat. Yeah, it's this is an interesting one in terms of strategy. He really don't know who it's going to go for. Because Speed and Pals now look strong. Corey's got another stop to make. So does the entirety of the top 4, but they can go longer. And if there's another safety car, they might be able to come in underneath it, and they will have the fresher tyres. Yeah, this is an awkward time for the safety car to come out, then, isn't it? It's quite awkward. But I'm sure they'll figure it out, and this, well, Hungary and Monaco and races like that certainly are won or lost in the pit lane. It's one of those things that you either get right or you don't. And for LB, out there on the softs under a safety car is not what he wants to be doing. And pretty much the entire grid now has lined up behind the safety car. So he's going to plummet to 14th, I reckon. Yeah, it'll be 14th. We might as well get in front of him. He wants to get things going. He just wants to put his way into the pit lane as quickly as he can. Yeah, that has ruined LB. Absolutely ruined his chance for a good result. He's still got a long way to go though. We're only a fifth of the way through. Just a shame that it had to go this way, but you know, racing's racing. You love it, but it doesn't quite love you back. Max is also in. I think he's changing his mind. He's going to the hards. And that's what it will be. Under the safety car, we've got pretty much everyone apart from RIP at the back of the grid, so shouldn't be too much longer under the safety car. Are those? Yeah, they're a set of hard, white wall hards going on. I thought they were another set of medium for a moment. I was like, whoa, that's a bit strange. But no, it's just the tyres they were taking off the car, not the ones they were putting on. But if Powers wants any chance of winning this race, he's going to need a good restart. He's going to need to get past speed. They're all bunched up. They're all feisty. And they're all going to be wanting to go as quick as they can. Shouldn't be much longer under safety car. I wouldn't imagine so anyway. Should be this lap. Everyone's here and we're not even at sector 3 yet, so could quite easy come in, and MX will lead us around. He certainly is quite cheeky with his safety car restarts, though he does them brilliantly. And safety car is in this lap, and RIP gets a 5-second penalty that he'll have to serve at his next time through the pit lane for a severe collision with Max, and that will definitely damage his front wing as well. He'll have to serve that under green flag running, which isn't the best thing to be doing, because you're going to lose a lot of time if you do that. But anyway, we turn our focus back to the action. MX leads us around, then he becomes the effective safety car. You can see left to right, controlling the pace. He decides when they go and when they don't. You can see really backing it off, and he's punched it off the final corner. Has he caught Rick napping? Not really. Rick gets a bit of a snap off the exit. The Ferraris 2 and 3 as we go green once more. Lap 10 of 35. MX leads from Rick, Jackalacco, and then Speed and Paus a second and a half behind. Here comes Corey. He's going to go launch one to the inside. He does. Lick it, stick it, send it under brakes. Is Paus going to hang him all the way around the outside? No, it's not, but Corey gets a massive snap of oversteer on the exit, and this could invite Paus to come back through, but Slippy Jimmy, the Alpine, gets involved. He's on nice warm tyres. Paus on the inside. They go side by side. The Alpine and the Mercedes side by side, bit of contact between the two, but the Alpine manages to get through, no damage done, and now Powers is falling backwards. He's getting swallowed up. He's now got the Red Bull of Ted looking in his mirrors, and yeah, certainly not the ideal restart for Powers at all, but very aggressive against the Alpine. It was one of those, you know, deja vu moments. We saw Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton do it in real life, and Paus and Slippy Jimmy did it in the virtual world through turn 2. But yeah, that was quite aggressive. Rick and Jackalacco, pretty even restarts between the top 4 really. And Corey, yeah, nice sense to the inside, certainly got the job done. And yeah, Paus swallowed up a bit. He needs to recompose himself pretty quickly and get back on it. Those hards probably weren't up to temperature as much as he would have liked. As we got a spinner, that's Ted going round off the penultimate corner, and now probably to P12. Yeah, he'll rejoin in P12. Gravy Splash is a little bit off. Not having the best of times. Down in P14. Jackalacco, Rick, the top 4 separated by right about 2 seconds. Corey's also getting involved. The top 5 could be a spicy fight before the top 3 come in for their pit stop. I think Corey will probably join them when they come in, not long after. As RIP has gone round again, heads into the pit lane, damaged his front wing. I think the DRS is going to be enabled this lap, not entirely sure. Ted gets the 5-second penalty, salt in the wound there. And retires from the race, becomes our 3rd DNF of the day, unfortunately. But yeah, Rick driving a good race in P2, and Jackalacco equally in P3 after being disqualified from qualifying. Rick doesn't have the same excuse. Yeah, that's a good idea, Kinnan. Certainly not the wisest thing to do, staying on track if you're a danger to yourself and others. So, yeah, Good stuff to pull in and just retire. The top 5 locked then in a train. MX trying to stretch his legs at the front. But Rick doing his best to keep himself within the 1 second range that he needs in order to stay in contention when they come into the pit lane. The top 3 still yet to make a pit stop. Remember, DRS now enabled on this lap. But that doesn't stop Slipstream coming into effect. This is Corey, wants to launch an attack on Speed. Not quite going to be close enough. Speed going to launch onto the inside of Jacko, is he? That was very brave if he was going to make that stick. Unfortunately decided to back out of that one. And I think probably for the better. But it made Jackalacko think twice, made him flinch, puts the pressure on him. That is a shame. I'm sure it wasn't intentional though, and it's something that stewards will take up with them. I'm not entirely sure it was Ted. I don't think Ted was anywhere near the collision with Flippy. Oh no, he might have been actually. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Probably was, in fact. But Speed, yeah, piling the pressure onto Jackalacko, wants himself back on the podium. Is in the net race lead after the top 3 come into the pit lane, and Jackalacko is quite wide. That's Gravy Splash going off at turn 5 as well. Turn 11. Speed very close to Jacko, who's fallen off his teammate a little bit. Rick and MX also going to get a little bit scrappy in just a moment's time, I'm sure, as well. Very wide for Speed. You can see he's setting up that good exit, but the Aston Martin looks up the inside. Corey now practically pushing him down this pit straight. All 3 of them have got DRS. But Speed's the one with the straight line speed. Down in towards turn 1. Can he launch one? Absolute centre the inside from the McLaren. He's now side by side with the Ferrari. Jackalacko keeping him honest around the outside. But a beautiful move from Jackalacko from an absolute mile back. And now Corey's going to get involved in the action on his medium tyres. Much fresher than the Ferrari. He's going to go all the way around the outside of turn 2. Quickly becomes the inside of 3. And the Aston Martin gets himself inside the top 4 in Speed. Bravo. That was absolutely sensational move. That was... I was not expecting that. Didn't really know what to say. He just absolutely launched it to the inside, committed as you'd like. He set that up the lap previously, and then obviously this lap knew that with his fresher tyres and his bravery under brakes could seal that move. That was poor. Absolutely launches one to the inside. And then once you've claimed that corner, it's yours, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. But he still gave Jackalacko a nice bit of room on the outside, just enough to keep it fair. And then Corey decided to get involved and leave him to dry around the outside. Brilliant racing between all 3 drivers. Great respect. But Jackalacko is going to be got a little bit mugged off, I think. But now Speed can start his advance onside the top 2, which are MX and Rick, lap 13 of 35. And those that were on the mediums at the start of the race still yet to come into the pit lane. 13 laps in, and now Speed. Is he going to go do a similar move to Rick? They're on similar age tyres, but Rick goes defensive, following the slipstream. Speed very late under brakes, not quite late enough on this time around. But will Rick just use Speed? Will he just let him through? That's what I would do. I'd let Speed through, use him to get past MX. As Powers has gone round after a great qualifying and a great first stint. It's all come undone after the safety car restart for the Mercedes. He finds himself down in P12, unfortunately, going backwards into the barrier. Paying Barry a lovely visit through turn 5. His Speed iron up a move on Rick, gets a nice launch off of turn 5. Not really a move you can go for into turn 6 and 7 though. This tight and twisted chicane where the curves will certainly spit you out if you're not careful, and you can see all over the rear end of the Ferrari through 7, 8 and into 9. As well as Corey, Jackalacko and Slippy Jimmy, all of them locked in this conga line through the middle sector. Under brakes into turn 11, you can just see he's just planted. He knows where the car's grip is. He knows where the tyre's grip is, and yet he doesn't lock up often. I say that was a very loud screech from those tyres, but doesn't lock up often. It's certainly braking where his speed comes from. You can see he takes a nice wide line to set up that good exit. Corey does look up the inside, but the exit just allows Speed to close the gap once more. But now he's locked in third because Rick's trying to put the pressure on MX. He's got the DRS to defend with, and he's going to go for the switcheroo, the under and over, get that run into turn 2. Maybe he's got the DRS and the overtake. Is MX? It's just not a long enough run in towards turn 2 for the Ferrari's liking. But still putting the pressure on, making MX look in his mirrors. And that's when the sweat comes in. That's when the palms get sweaty. Your knees weak, your arms get heavy as well. As Vardy, we've lost him in the pit lane in P12, but yeah, back to MX. It's one of those things that once you're looking in your mirrors, you're not focusing as much on where you're going, and that's when the mistakes start to creep in and the pressure starts to get to you. But he's a champion, he's a race winner, he definitely knows his way around a circuit. But for speed, yeah, his progress has sort of been halted. I think he's not really being that aggressive. He knows these two have to come into the pit lane anyway, so he's not too fast as to when he gets through. He just wants to get through at some point, and it doesn't have to be aggressive as he was with Jackalacko with Rick. As they come up to lap Gravy, that could actually give MX the DRS. No, it doesn't. Luckily, it doesn't give him the DRS, but he's going to pick up a bit of slipstream to try and help him along the way. Speed also on up the move on Rick, but again, they're just locked in this DRS train where no one can gain on anyone. And that's the thing about Hungary. There's no other place to get through other than turn 1, so you're just locked in this DRS train. We've got a good 6 cars locked into this fight, all for the race lead. 3 of them are yet to pit, 2 of them are full position. I think Koru actually is due a pit stop, so I'd say this is Speed's race to win. Well, it's actually his race to lose. All eyes are on him. But he wants to make sure he can beat MX by the biggest margin possible in order to claw back some points. I think he finished 3rd. Oh no, it was 2nd, so if he can win this race, he'll put himself in the lead of the championship. But that's all about finishing this race, and we're just about halfway through now as we go on to lap 17 of 35. That'll be around about halfway. And we've lost 4 drivers, both Red Bulls, Eat My Dust and Kiernan, out of this race. 13 drivers left. And we've got 6 of them, all fighting for the race lead at the moment. MX, Rick, Speed, Kuru and Jackalacko, the top 5. Slipper Jimmy rounds off the top 6 in this train. You can see Speed once more trying to maximise the exit. 2/10 between himself and the Ferrari as they go down the pit straight. He's close. Is he close enough to launch an attack? Rick and MX both going defensive to look for the slipstream. He's going to look to the inside, maybe use the gap that MX makes. Rick gives him the space, flinches in fact, and Speed looks to the inside. He now needs to drive off the corner in towards turn 2. It's going to be the outside. Can he go the long way around? How committed is he? Under brakes, that's very committed, but so is Rick. The Flying Dutchman forces him back wide, and Speed has to tuck back through. Rick around the outside of turn 3 manages to keep P2 and stays within the 1 second of MX as well. Corey also wants to get involved, practically pushing Speed through, and he's going to launch onto the inside of turn 5. Corey getting very, very spicy indeed. And yeah, you got now 5 cars bumper to bumper to bumper, nose to tail, waiting for their opportunity to strike, and all that pressure is building on MX. It's like having 4 people stood on your shoulders at this point. He is under an absolute world of pressure, and he's still not even yet to come into the pit lane. He's waiting and waiting for that safety car to save him. But it's not coming yet, I don't think. He's trying to eke this stint out as long as he can. In order to do that, and Slippy Jimmy and Jackalacko going side by side. The Alpine forced off the road by the Ferrari, it seems, or just outbroke himself a little bit too much. Round 2 for Speed then. He's going to look to go back up the inside of Rig, try and get that move done. Nice wide exit, nice late apex to get the drive off the corner. Nice straight line as they dart down the pit straight once more. Lap 18 to 35, not quite close enough. He's looking in his mirrors though, because here comes Koru. Speed having to go defensive. The Aston Martin to the outside, late under brakes, looks to go the outside. Going to try and go for the switcheroo, the under and over, practically pushing him once more. But Rick gets a pull around. We've lost RIP. RIP to him. I've made that joke already. And there is a safety car. So MX and Rick and Koru and anyone else. Jackalacko. No, Jackalacko coming to the pit lane a lap too early. Probably to try to get the jump on MX and Rick. But that was such poorly timed for him. And he gets to overtake the safety car, thankfully. MX and Rick are going to come in. Is Speed going to come in? Now, this is the interesting thing. He could go back onto a set of medium tyres and be incredibly quick. But the thing is, he will then lose the track position to well, no, he's not going to gain any track position. In fact, he's going to stay where he is in P3. He's going to be behind Rick and MX. He's going to have to get through both of them. And that could be where the problems start to arise, because when you overtake, you increase your risk of crashing out pretty drastically. He's going to want it nice and easy, but at the same time, he doesn't want to be vulnerable. He's got the pace over Rick and MX, I'm sure. Question is, can he use it? Because we saw there, he was locked behind Rick, despite being, you know, a much fresher tyres, much quicker tyres. You know, he's coming in, probably for a set of mediums. Koru comes in as well. He'll be for a set of mediums as well. He can go to another set. If he's got another set, that is. I don't think he used one in qualifying, so he should have another set. Aces, though, stays out. He's going to take the lead of the race in the Alpine. This could be an absolute masterclass from both Alpines, who both stay out. They're going to be, what, P1 and 2. So 1-2 for Alpine. I think Slippy Jimmy, he's going to go to the end. I think Slippy Jimmy is going to go to the end. He's going to try and hang it out. MX, Rick, Speed, and Corey are all going to be chasing him down, though. And now the sort of the pendulum swings even more so into Speed's favour on the mediums versus the hards. Yeah, this could be a very spicy end to this race. Never ever count out an exciting race here at Budapest. Yeah, this is, we don't know. It's always won or lost in the pit lane around here. And there's just so many different strategies going on. They're all sort of compiling together, but no, Gravy Splash has had a collision with Aces. Despite being a lap down, he's come together with the Alpine and given him a 5-second penalty, which Aces is not going to be happy about at all. But Aces has got a car between himself and his teammate. That could give him a good launch. To sort of stretch his legs. How much it will help him in the long run, I'm not sure, because he's definitely going to have to come into the pit lane again. Unless he's been absolutely massaging those tyres around this racetrack. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think safety car should be in this lap. Hopefully it's in this lap. Is it in this lap? And it wouldn't be a stream without me dropping my phone with it. And that was a very high drop. I'm surprised it's not cracked. Thankfully it's not cracked. But that was a pretty high drop, I must say. Thankfully, it didn't smash. I don't think the safety car's in this lap, otherwise I think Aces would have already backed off by quite a bit. Yeah, we got one more lap, and then we're back to green flag. Who's in? I think that's Jack Alacco in. He's in for what? He's on the hard. Is he going mediums? I think he is. He is, yeah. So, yeah, certainly don't go anywhere. The 13 people that are watching, don't be scared to say hello in chat. Has your predictions from the start of the race to now changed? Because, well, you know, all the variables that come into motorsport. Good God, if you're trying to be, you know, a statistical analyst and calculate all the probabilities of things happening in an F1 race, because there must be a vast amount of variables to take into account. Yeah, lap 20 of 35, we've got 15 laps of green flag running left. If we go green at the end of this lap, which I'm sure we will, Gravy Splash hasn't been allowed to get that lap back, which is a shame, how lap cars aren't allowed to re-overtake the safety car and get that lap back. But, I think it's 2 laps. Would it be 2 laps for Gravy? Safety car's in this lap nonetheless, so Ace is going to control the field. He's got a car's length between himself and his teammate anyway. So he should have a clear run in towards turn 1. The question is whether it's going to be Speed, Corey, Rick or MX that comes out in the provisional lead as we go in towards turn 1. Final bit of preparation. Weaving around like snakes, left to right, using the course surface in order to warm those tyres up. Use that friction through the final corner, setting up a nice late apex. He's got between now and the timing line to go, and he's gone now. We're back under green flag racing. Speed a comfortable lead. Is Corey going to launch? Well, I say Aces has got a comfortable lead. Speed under pressure from Corey as we go in towards turn 1. Rick and MX looking to get feisty. They try and get through on Gravy Splash cleanly. They all do, because he is ghosted, but still can be quite a bit of a distraction if you're not careful. Slippy Jimmy then P2. Aces leads the way, and Alpine 1-2, both of which probably going to fall backwards, I'd imagine. Slippy Jimmy can go to the end of the race, but it's going to be difficult, and he'll fall backwards because he's got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 charging bulls after him. None of them driving for a Red Bull. But all of them absolutely going for it. All of them want to win. All of them see a chance to win. Even LB's back in this race now. Corey's got a penalty. That's going to set him back a bit, but anything can happen. Through 7. I think it's all going to be who can get past Slippy Jimmy first. Because if MX gets stuck behind, he's going to have a queue of people waiting to take that position. Speed wants to get through on Rick then and start that advanced early. And MX has gone round, has he? What happened to him? The net race leader's gone round. The championship leader has gone round. He's now P11. Last of those still on the lead lap. And now Rick and Speed and Kuru and LB all released to chase after Slippy Jimmy. Didn't quite see what happened to him. Shame you can't get replays in the spectator mode, but yeah, that is something. Speed now eyeing up the move on the Ferrari, who goes defensive to the middle of the track, giving Speed the option, outside or inside. It's going to be the inside if he sends one. Rick doesn't cover it off, he moves it back. Speed back down the inside. Rick around the outside, keeps him honest, nearly squeezed off the circuit by the McLaren. Then now side by side on the run towards turn 2, very feisty as Speed gives him the squeeze. Rick down the inside, late on the brakes, but both of them. Then the Aston Martin of Corey tries to get involved and gets spun round because Speed was going for the under and over, and Corey tried to send one to the inside. If he didn't stick it up the inside, he probably could have got past Rick himself, but luckily for Rick, only lost 1 place, and Speed up into P3 after a great move. And for Corey, yeah, just desperation, stalled the gap, filled it. It was a little bit too late to be filling the gap, unfortunately, and that's another race bottled, and that's 2 of our contenders out of the mix. 1 lap in to the safety car restart. Aces still leads from his teammate Slippy Jimmy, giving him a nice slipstream, keeping him alive. As we've lost LB as well, all the contenders are spinning through turn 11. Seems to be a very tricky place to get through, and he's back behind MX. Is he going to be back behind Koru? No. So it's now between, I'd say, Speed and Rick in order to win this race, but Speed's gone. Speed's absolutely gone. He's on a mission. DRS now enabled, doesn't even need it. Sets the fastest lap. Yeah. Speed, he just absolutely does it. Slippy Jimmy shouldn't fight this one too hard. Tries to go defensive. Is he going to make it difficult for the McLaren, who has to get squeezed all the way to the outside of turn 2? This time he doesn't have an Aston Martin behind him to worry about. He can set up that exit through 3. And just backing up. But yeah, Speed plays that to perfection. He makes them think. He leads them into a false sense of security. Sends them to the inside and then brings it back over. They think, oh, okay, he's not going to go for the move. They bring back over and then Speed, bang, darts onto the inside, slams on that brake pedal, somehow doesn't lock up into the side of him, and then manages to keep it through turns 1 and 2. Yeah, Speed, he's the overtaken maestro. He knows what he's doing. He's got 2 Alpines to clear though, Slippy Jimmy and then Aces, in order to get himself back into the race. While he's got the pace, it's not been comfortable for him. He's always been close to another car in this second and third stint with 13 laps left of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Rick still in DRS range of him, but how long that's going to last, I do not know. AP has actually brought himself inside the top 6 once more. He's got a penalty, but he's got a Williams in front of him as well. Womax, that's what I mean. He's patient. He buys his time, and he's back inside the top 5. Can Speed get past Slippy Jimmy? Down and towards turn 1. Slippy Jimmy goes to the middle of the track. Is he going to dummy it to the inside? Not this time. In fact, he's going to send Slippy Jimmy in deep, go for the under and over, get the switcheroo, get the drive off the corner. Now the outside of turn 2. It's nothing he hasn't done before, and there's a bit of contact as the Alpine absolutely just right hand downs him into turn 2, keeps the place, and he just absolutely right hand down him there. There was no need for that whatsoever from Slippy Jimmy. I'm sure it was an accident trying to squeeze him, but that was a very volatile action just to completely chuck the car right hand down. Caught me by surprise, probably caught Speed by surprise. But now Rick is brought right back into it, and you can count on Speed not giving him, well, not being as nice as that anytime soon to the Alpine. Yeah, I do not know what that was. It was something special, but I'm sure he's going to send one. I think Slippy is defending like a lion, as the Alpines do, and completely rear ends him. Under normal circumstances, I would say fair enough, but as a commentator, I'm not allowed to. There's a VSC. He's completely done his front wing in, and that's completely ruined Speed's chances of a race victory here. Luckily, they've got the VSC where he can bring it into the pit lane and change his front wing. Aces comes straight in for a cheap pit stop. So Rick and Slippy Jimmy, they're released to take the lead. Could Rick win this? That is... Rumax is onto the podium. Palps is brought into this as well. Yeah, you do not want to be a contender for the race lead. It doesn't go well for you. Slippy Jimmy leads the race then. I'm sure the stewards are going to have something to say about that one though. 100% are going to have something to say about that one. Yeah, but if what Speed did was intentional, I'd say fair enough, personally. But, you know, I meant to set a good influence. We're meant to keep it clean. But, yeah, if it was intentional from both sides, okay. You can't blame Speed for doing what he did. He ruined his race, of course. He's down in P9. He's on the softs, though, to the end. Could still fight his way through. But now, the top 4 all within a few tenths of a second. In fact, the top 5 all within a few tenths of a second. Jackalacco, the fresher tyres of the bunch. And we go green once more. It's 5 new. Well, I say new, not completely new. Rick's still there. But 4 completely new race-winning contenders in Slippy Jimmy, Wumax, Paus, and Jackalacco. Paus had a good start. Bad middle stint, but now in this final stint he's come back alive. He's brought himself into contention. A podium probably is the minimum for Paus, despite that penalty. Speed's going to have some absolutely blistering pace in order to close those gaps. Here comes Paus to the inside of Wumax, though. He's going to strip him of that podium. The Williams not even putting up much of a fight. Here comes the Mercedes. Easy to like it down the inside. In fact, not very easy, because Wumax is going to fight it-ish around the outside, though eventually concedes, but in conceding opens the door for the Ferrari. Here comes Jackalacco to the outside. Is he going to go all the way around the outside? In fact, does. Nearly slices the front wing of the Williams off. And now Paus released to chase after the Dutchman. And the questionable Alpine, I think, is how we're going to put it for this race. Of course, one race doesn't define who you are, but for this race, certainly we can call him questionable, because he has been rather questionable with his defending. One mistake, of course. That's beyond Tedrick level of dirtiness. In fact, yeah, it is Aaron, indeed. It is. Whether it was an intentional or not, I'm sure it was a mistake. We've all been there where we've sort of squeezed a little bit too aggressively, but it seemed too sudden and too flicky for my liking. When you squeeze, you sort of do it gradually, not a sudden jerk to the right-hand side, you know. But Rick, yeah, he said he was going to give us some action. He started 14th on the grid. He's now second with the 2 closest to him with penalties. He's on the fresher tyres, and he's only got a few laps left of this race to go. Paus trying to put that pressure on, though. He's on the mediums versus the hards. For now, they're going to be quicker, and he wants to make the most of it. Look into the inside. The Ferrari getting a bit squirmy behind him. Paus is the sandwich, is the Mercedes meat to a Ferrari sandwich at the moment. Sandwich between the 2 Ferraris. That's how I meant to say it. Through turn 3. 5 tenths separate each of the top 3. Jackalacco not far behind. Wumax has fallen off a little bit, but still comfortable in P5, in fact. If he could bring over top 5, that'd be great points. (27 of 35). We've got, I think, 8.5 laps left to go of this race. Through 11. And Paus, again, keeping it honest. Equal gaps between all of the top 4, pretty much. Just about who can close that gap most efficiently. Rick's probably got the best chance of doing it, seeing as though Slippy Jimmy's got no defence in front of him, but Paus seems feisty. He's got the medium compound tyre as well to aid him on that. Close the gap through, but Rick keeps that power on, keeps the minimum speed up. At the final corner, I think this is Paus' best opportunity. He needs to close the gap. He's got to use everything he's got against the Ferrari. In fact, he's not. He's happy to sit behind, looking to the inside, saying to Rick, you know, I'm happy to work with you for now, but, you know, don't get complacent. If you don't go for a move, I will. And he's basically saying to Rick there, get a move on, mate, because I want to win this race, you want to win this race. I'm not going to stop you from doing that for now. But it would help if you get a move on. At the moment, Paus is going to be P5. So he needs to clear the traffic and then get a move on. 2 tenths between the top 3. Here comes Rick looking to the inside of the Alpine and towards turn 6 and 7. Quickly backs out of that one though. But look at him, nose to tail as they go through a tight and twisty chicane. Jackalacco joins the party again. Alpine, Ferrari, Mercedes and Ferrari once more. The top 4. Wumax is closing back up. Can he get himself back in DRS range? Maybe, if he can stay within In fact, if he can stay within a few seconds, he might get a podium anyway. If it stays like this, he will be on the podium. So fair play to him. If he keeps it there, he's back in DRS range as well. They are really slowing themselves up because Slippy Jimmy is not doing himself any favours on 19 lap old hards. I think Rick's a bit scared to go for a move. Palps is all over the rear end of him. He's using that ERS. Has he said enough is enough? He's going to go for the move. Rick darting to the inside. They all go conga line-esque as they all search for the slipstream. The Alpine having to go defensive. Rick going for the move around the outside. That's going to open the door to Palps, who's going to try and get the drive off the corner. Is it side by side? Indeed it is. Rick having to go defensive. He's eyeing up the move to Slippy Jimmy. Going to go for one to the inside. 3 abreast are they in towards turn 2. There's yellow flags. I don't know what it's for. It's for none of our race leaders. Palps now to the inside of turn 3. Gets the move, but Rick around the outside keeps his foot in. And that could have ended very, very badly indeed. And now Jackalaco searching for a space through, but can't find one. How they kept that clean, I do not know. Rick maybe got a little bit desperate, I think. Searching for the gap to the inside. Slippy Jimmy just had the wider line on the outside to keep that momentum through. And then, of course, Palps just couldn't quite find the gap, I'm sure. But they've definitely got still a few opportunities left to go. They've got to make the most of every single one as Womack joins the party. 5-car train for the lead of the race certainly is not a bore fest here at Budapest. Hopefully we can have a little bit more side-by-side action. If someone actually goes for a move, you can just see Palps is saying to Rick, get a move on, mate, through that penultimate corner. He's not messing around one bit, pushing him through the final corner as well. He's going to use the DRS, he's going to use the slipstream and his ERS in order to eye up a move on the Ferrari, down the pit straight, in towards turn 1. Is Rick going to go defensive? Palps doesn't go for the move, and it's deja vu because Slippy Jimmy compromises his line. Who's going to get the better drive off the corner this time around? It's going to be Palps on the run towards turn 2. Is Rick going to send one? They're nearly 3 abreast. Rick going to try and go for the outside. He goes for the under and over though. There's contact with Palps to the rear end of the Dutchman, because Slippy Jimmy just parked it on the inside again. Rick tried to go for the under and over, couldn't quite get it, and then that just sort of Constantined into Palps going into the back of him. Has he got damage? We'll see as he tries to take this right-hander. Yeah, that's pushing on. He's got damage. He's got some bad damage. Jackalaco goes through, and that's ruined Palps' chance. Womack will probably soon go through, and then probably MX as well. Yeah, no one's fault. Just one of those things that happen. Unfortunately, Corey goes fastest. Ace is on the back of LB, practically pushing him through again. I've said that a lot because it's true. Womack gets past AP. He's definitely got a lot of damage, which is a shame. He probably could have won this race. He goes off the track. MX forces his way through. LB soon enough as well. Speed has fallen off, really fallen off. Rick. At the moment, it's Rick, Jackalaco and Womack for the top 3. Unless MX has got anything to say about that. Come on, Womack, fight. Fight for it. You want this podium. Who did he? It was a shame. We didn't see it. We didn't catch it. Passes into the pit lane, understandably so. Going to try and go for a fast lap. See if he can get himself an extra point, because it's up to anyone in APPF1. You can finish 20th and get the fastest lap point. Unlike real life, where it's got to be inside the top 10 for you to benefit off the point. But both Ferraris, both punching horses, chasing after the Williams, who is somehow leading this race. Whether that's through aggression or making that Williams as wide as it possibly can be. Either way, he's leading the race. He's got a penalty, so Rick is biding his time, but he wants to give us some action. Come on, Rick, you want to give us an action. Send one to the inside, to the outside, through the middle. I do not mind. Just give us an overtake, because otherwise your teammate will, and he is charging after you at a rate of knots. This is going to be great points for Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. Also great points for Rick in the Drivers' Championship as well. I think he will take the lead. And they might be tied on points between Rick and MX. Yeah, they will be. They'll be tied on points. Depends who's got the fast lap at the moment. I think it's Speed. So have a look actually. No, it's Corey who's got the fast lap. So yeah, it'll be all tied up at the front. Five. And yeah, Slippy Jimmy's certainly struggling on his tyres, but no one can find a way through. MX managed to get a way through on Womax, didn't catch that unfortunately. So it's probably going to be MX's podium. But Womax still doing a good job. Did I say Williams? I meant Alpine. Of course I meant Alpine. Slippy Jimmy's in an Alpine, not a Williams. I only just realised. I was thinking of Womax is what I was thinking. There's too much blue in the 2021 grid. Hopefully they change that up for 2022. Hopefully some of the teams, you know, give us some better liveries. Well, not to say the liveries aren't great, but more versatile liveries, a wider range of liveries is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it's an Alpine, it's not a Williams. I do correct my mistake. Max under a bit of pressure. And Rick still trying to put some on. 3 laps left, bit of a snap off of turn 1. Allows his teammate to close the gap. Up towards turn number 4 for the 33rd time. Jack Lacko keeping it mightily consistent, only half a tenth down on his personal best through the first sector. As Aces on a recovery drive wants to pick up the pieces a little bit, and if he can get himself back inside the top 5, that would be great. But for the 4 drivers that have kept their noses clean, Rick, Jacko, MX, actually no, it's 5. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. It's 4. Rick, Jacko, MX, and Womax. My eyes are deceiving me. 4 drivers who have kept their noses clean this race. All of them deserve a pat on the back. Budapest, not an easy track to keep your nose clean on. Especially if your name is Slippy Jimmy. He certainly has not kept his nose clean. Well, more so his front right suspension. But, you know, that's a topic for another day. 6 tenths between the top 2 as we go on to the penultimate lap of this race. 34-35. Rick, I think he's just biding his time. He's going to win this race as long as he doesn't finish 3 seconds back. Or is it 5 seconds? It's 5 seconds. Even better. Aces goes up the inside of Womax towards turn 1. LB wants a slice of the cake as well. Going to force his way through. Is Womax just going to concede this one? Come on, Womax, fight it. Send one to the inside. No. Didn't want to fight it. So it's going to be P7. 2 chances for podium Womax has had this race. And unfortunately hasn't gone as committed as he should have been, perhaps. Or, you know, I would have been a bit more aggressive, but that's just me. We've got a matter of corners left to go in this race, and which of the 2 Ferraris will take the win, because there's not going to be Slippy Jimmy, whether that's from this 5-second penalty or the post-race penalty from the stewards. One of them's going to stop him from winning. He's going to take the on-track victory maybe, unless Rick has anything to say about it, but yeah, Rick not really closing as much as he should be doing. But Slippy Jimmy is vulnerable. On to the final lap of this race, 35-35, their last time down this pit straight. Rick needs to be as committed as he possibly can be, and towards turn 2, he's running out of opportunities. He's kept it clean, so as it stands, he will win the race, but come on, do it on track. Don't be boring, Rick. Send it. We want you to. And he will, well, will he take the lead in the championship? I think they'll be dead equal in terms of championship points. In fact, actually, no, they'll be exactly the same in terms of race results. Rick has a win with MX in P3, and MX has a win with Rick in P3. So with MX's first win being at Spa, I think it's going to be him that takes the lead of the championship. But it's tied. It's only 2 rounds in, but it's tied of the championship. If it stays as it is, Jack Lacko can still find a way through. Rick can still spin. Slippy Jimmy, you know, can pull 5 seconds in a matter of 2 corners. You never know. Anything can happen. Jack Lacko mounting the pressure. We've got 2 more corners left to go at the Hungarian Grand Prix. 13 and 14. It's going to be Slippy Jimmy that takes the win on track. But after penalties, Rick has got 1 more corner to negotiate in order to get himself tied on points for the championship lead. Across the line, Slippy Jimmy questionably wins the race on track, but Rick comes across the line. It's a Ferrari 1-2 for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's Rick from Jack Lacko MX. Slippy Jimmy in 4th. 4-5 for Alpine. Womax, respectable P6 with speed, a disappointing P7. And LB in P8. Paus in P9 with Corey in 10th, and then of course Gravy Splash a moment later. 11 people finished this race, 6 people didn't. Slippy Jimmy got that penalty because of a back marker hit him during a safety car, might get removed. That is true, he didn't serve the penalty, one on track, but it might be, of course, after his driving, they might just leave it. Yeah, very well done to Rick and Jacko, both Ferraris doing great. They're going to put themselves right in that fight for the championships. MX is going to be quite disappointed. Probably could have won that. Speed as well through, yeah, pretty much no fault of his own. Got knocked out of this fight. Paus as well could have been one. But again, when you're that close in a fight for the race lead, things happen. But it's Rick in the Ferrari that takes, I think it's his first win in Tier 1. I'm not entirely sure, but it might well be. Thank you everyone. Yeah, great comeback from MX, despite being on a compromised strategy. It is then the Flying Dutchman that takes the win of the Hungarian Grand Prix. He leads a Ferrari 1-2, an unlikely Ferrari 1-2 considering where they started on the grid. Very close in pace, and Jack Galacco definitely bringing home the points for the constructors. P3 for MX, first Tier 1 baby. For Rick, he's certainly very happy. MX P3 with Sippy in P4. Aces rounds off the top 5. Again, good points for Alpine in their bid for a good position in the constructors. Wumax P6 and Speed Alcoholic P7. Again, disappointing for him. He had the pace to win. LB in P8 with APP9. Corey rounds off the top 10 and Gravy Splash. You know, to finish first you have to finish, but in this case, to finish 11th, you first have to finish. He kept his nose clean and picks up some nice points. I think it's going to be 9 points going his way, and just because he finished, wasn't the quickest car on track, but he kept it clean, kept it consistent, and those that didn't finish, Neil, RIP, Vardy, Ted, Eatmydust and Kieran all DNFing from today's race. It certainly was a tense race all the way to the wire between pretty much 5-6 drivers. I think all had a chance at victory today. Of course, only one managed to do it. But keep an eye out if you're on the Discord for the stewards' findings. I'm sure they're going to be very interesting, and those in the stewards' room are going to have a very, very long night, I'm sure. Regardless, that has been round number 2 of the Tier 1 Season 4 Championship. I've been Zach Sweeney, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.